Welcome. On today's show, we are going to be chatting Salah, Sane, Andre in January, a little bit of FSG, and the 12:30 p.m. kickoffs. So, guys, get ready, grab your snacks, grab your drinks. Let's do this. Yes, guys. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for joining myself today. We've got a lot to talk about. Salah, Andre, 12:30 kickoffs, a little bit of FSG, and who helped me chat about this evening, the one and only Tom Little. How you doing, Tom?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Good to be on the channel. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been, man. It's been. Yeah, hopefully I'll get more. I'm going to get more of this. So, yeah, hopefully I've got more shows coming up planned. I'm going to get more guests on. So, hopefully we can see a bit more of you on the channel, my friend. When you're not on the Sam's channel, that is. Big evening to Frank in the chat. You're doing well, Frank. Hope you're doing well. 96 in the chat as well. Sane. Well, we'll get to Sane talk in a minute. Firstly, I just want to say first, the tragedy that's happened in Belgium tonight, in Brussels, the two Swedish fans that got killed tonight. We just send our thoughts and prayers to their loved ones and stuff like that. It's I don't know what's happening in this world right now. It's just disgusting. It's a horrible place to be in right now. But look, I'm sure Tom's the same. We send our love and prayers to the families of them two Swedish fans tonight. So big up to everyone in the chat. Don't forget to please go and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, all that good stuff. And I will leave Tom's. If any mods are in the chat right now, please put Tom's link in the live chat so people can go and subscribe to his channel as well. So, guys, as you know, earlier on today, I did speak about FSG. I've done my thing on FSG. I did my hour and a half monologue on them. Basically, I didn't think I really came with an end goal, what I was really trying to say. My whole thing on FSG is that they're good, they're bad, and they're ugly. They're all at the same time. There's good parts of their ownership, there's bad parts of their ownership, there's ugly parts of their ownership. There's a lot of things I don't agree with what they do. There's a lot of things I think they do fantastically well, especially the off-the-field stuff and the way we run behind the scenes. You know, I'd rather have them than the Glazers and people like that every day of the week. But, yeah, I want to get Tom's opinion on FSG, because, Tom, I know you've had some strong opinions on the ownership before. But 13 years now, what's your overall feelings on FSG, the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Look, my stance has been clear for ever since I've been doing these shows, doing these streams on YouTube, anywhere really. I've been FSG out since 2016 because I have a severe lack of trust in that ownership group in terms of just me as a person. What my morals and my beliefs are when I have been lied to time and time and time again, when they say one thing and do another, that to me is just I can never build that trust back. If I was to put a level head on, I can understand they have done a really good job at building the football club up, because when they bought us, we were in a state, I won't try and rewrite history. We were in a state. They have built us up. Do I think they could have done it in different ways, in potentially better ways, better utilising finance and everything? Yeah, 100%. But they have got us to where we are today. We are, barring this whole stupid thing of the stadium and the new stand and the delays and this, that, and the other, we are on course to have a 60,000 capacity Anfield, which is mental, considering this. We were told for ages that you can't do anything, you just have to move out, which no one really wanted. The new training ground is state of the art, one of the best in the world. Can't fault them for that. The question marks can 100% come when it comes to, is the ambition on the pitch being matched? I'm happy to have that debate. I feel that their strategy, their Moneyball strategy, is fantastic for the side, building to where we wanted to be. Whether we believe that FSG had aspirations of us winning titles, I don't believe they ever did. I believe their aspirations were make us a top 4 side so they can make the Champions League money. They never expected us to be as good as we are, and as such, they've never really matched that level of expenditure. That is the big concern. Obviously we had the whole United thing in the past couple of days. Do I sit there and want, Qatari owners? I just want owners who have the best interests of the football club at heart, and the main thing for the best interest of the football club is keeping the fans on board, making sure that the fans are the number one priority because they run the football club. They're the most important thing in the football club. Whoever that is, whoever is the best man to do that, get them in. Get them in. That's how I see it. I think we've almost outgrown FSG in a sense. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing or a wrong thing or a crazy thing to say. They are better at building, but we don't need to build anymore. We need to renovate. We need to, take ourselves over the next step. So they can lay the foundations. They can do the brickwork. It's like building a house. They're very good at everything up to putting the roof on and furnishing the house.
Yeah.
They don't want to do that, which is fine. That if that's how they want to run the football club, that's fine. But Liverpool Football Club is a club built on history, success, and most importantly, winning. There is a winning culture at this football club, and if they try and move away from that, then they have to go. I think they should go anyway, but there are still vehement defenders because for me, it feels like, being in the city, I've talked to a lot of people who sit there and for me anyway, it comes across like they feel that FSG, we owe FSG an insurmountable debt for saving us. Yes, they did. They were the rich people that were lucky enough to buy us. But that's not to say there weren't other rich people in line waiting to buy us, and who knows how they could have turned out. At the end of the day, FSG made a lot of money. We've had success. We got the Premier League title we wanted. We've had the Champions League in that time. Both parties have benefited, but the football side of things could have benefited more. It could have done, but that would come at the cost of FSG benefiting more. And when you realise that they are businessmen and they are the priority, which I can't knock, it's how businessmen run. It's fine. But like I said, best interest of the football club has to be at the heart of the owners, and I don't know if that is the case with them, because when you look at Project Big Picture, when you look at the Super League, all that sort of stuff was not the best interest of the football club. It was the best interest for the finances. And stuff like that isn't, I don't very easily forget that. I know some people do, but I don't. Stuff like that stays for a long, long time. And that's just one of the reasons why I look at it and go, I can't back it. I hope that they do move on sooner rather than later. But that's not to say they haven't done some good things. Like you said, like I said, the stadium, the training ground, the success that we have achieved. There's been some good things, but there's also been some negatives that I feel like it's a very extremist subject because there's such extreme views on one side that promotes extreme views on the other. The reality is somewhere in the middle. If you're FSG in, I don't blame you. If you're FSG out, I don't blame you. They are not the best owners. They're not the worst owners. They sit slap bang in the middle. But ultimately, I think every single Liverpool fan should aspire for owners that are the best, because then that would in turn lead to success on the pitch. And unfortunately for me, I see the way football's going. All these historic clubs, all these big clubs are eventually going to be owned by states or oligarchs or massive, corporations that we never see.
Yeah, I agree.
I look at it, and from a selfish point of view, I sit there and go, why don't we just get involved early so we can win some stuff before the playing field levels out?
And this is what I said earlier on my show about things like the Super League, when them and United were forefront in the Super League. Also, Real Madrid, by the way, no one ever bring their names up when they bring the Super League, but Real Madrid are still in the Super League, by the way. If you look at the way football is right now, we're already in a Super League. We're literally in a Super League right now. Look how bad Europe is. Europe is dead. European football's dead. Look at this Champions League right now. The elite teams are the elite teams. They don't care about the little person anymore. I've been saying this for years now. Bury went out of business. Where were the two Manchester clubs helping them? They're their nearest team, the Greater Manchester. Where were the Manchester clubs helping Bury survive if they cared about the football pyramid? The fact is, the elite clubs don't give a shit about the football pyramid, and it's a fact. PSG care about PSG. They don't care about any of the teams around Paris whatsoever. They care about themselves. Liverpool care about themselves. Man United, Man City, they care about themselves. What happened to Bolton? The elite clubs don't care about the little guy. We live in a Super League right now, and people just got to, they keep going about FSG. I hated them since they brought in the Super League. Well, you look at it, UEFA condemned everyone being in the Super League and would take their UEFA license away from them. Then weeks later, UEFA looked at it and went, "Oh, we're going to nick that idea," and just made it UEFA's idea.
The idea, I've always said it on it. The idea in a base format is a sound idea, but certain things as a part of it were just completely flawed. The idea of making it a closed-off league, completely flawed. That's not what football's about. But the idea of, because I think personally now the Champions League groups are shit. That's the best I can put it. They're a bit shit. You end up with some stinkers of groups. The idea what they're moving to now, where it's a big league format and you play 8 games, 4 home, 4 away. There's going to be massive ties, going to be small ties, but it's more of a level playing field. That is, I believe, the correct step forwards.
Yeah.
But even like you were saying, they don't care about little guys. Project Big Picture, which was the English one they were trying to start up in COVID, that was on about reducing the size of the Premier League, so that the Premier League money got spread out more to them, and they were trying to readjust how that works and everything. The reason why the Premier League is the best league in the world is because it has the best financial packages. Every single team from 1st to 20th gets an equal payout of the TV shares. That doesn't happen in any other country. That's why this league can be competitive.
Exactly.
The Premier League wanted to change that up. Not the Premier League, sorry. The big clubs wanted to change that up. They wanted to reduce it from, I think it was 20 teams to 18 or 19, and then they tried to pass it off by saying, "Oh, we'll give the lower league clubs 10%, 10% for 73 clubs." It's a joke. Football is what it is because of every single club, not just Liverpool and United and Arsenal and Chelsea. They might be the big ones, but they aren't football. And there's an owner that embraces that is the owner I want the football club. And that's why I don't agree with the people who just sort of, when he put out that shitty apology where he was just sat in a room with some flowers that represent sorrow and an apology behind them, I'm sitting there going, no way, people are lapping that up. And people were just on their knees for him going, "Oh, yes, look at our owner, he's apologised." It should never have got to that situation in the first place. Never. Ask any footballing person, they didn't agree with it.
No, I hear that. Yeah, but he shouldn't have put an apology out, and I do agree with that. I will say, though, he was the only one who actually had the bottle to actually do it. I will give him that. He has the brass balls, but he should have done it. It don't look good, does it?
It was his second apology, to be fair. Like, he's pretty used to it. When you look
he likes an apology. Big up, K-Mac. Welcome, man. Welcome.
You look at them all. You had like the ticket scandal when he tried to charge 77 quid for the ticket, which was a joke. You had when he tried to put some of the staff on furlough, which is a horrible move during COVID. It's not like we need the money. You made sure people get paid. When he tried to trademark the word Liverpool, that was an embarrassment in the city, because you're watching people who sell scarves and merch outside the stadium. Good
because they wanted that cut.
They wanted that money. They wanted people to go spend it in the club shop instead, which is a complete horrible move. You had Big Picture, you had Super League, and there's another one. I constantly forget this other one, but I will remember it at some point. And you'll just hear me blurt it out.
It's like the word Kentucky, I believe. The state of Kentucky owns the name right of Kentucky. And that is why you have to call KFC KFC and not Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore.
It's funny though, because you'd think with FSG that Liverpool was the only football club in the city.
Yeah, well, it is. Let's face it. It's the only football club. It's the only football club in the city actually named after the city. Big K-Mac, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. It's funny because it's kind of like they just went into it blindly and just went, oh, you know what? We do all that stuff in America, so it'll be okay in the UK.
Yeah,
and it just wasn't. It just was not at all.
Picked
It's the history side of things.
Pick the wrong team to do it with as well.
Yeah, especially with Liverpool fans, like the amount of history that we've got to then just go and start meddling with that is just, it's a big no-no. The thing about the furlough, there's a couple of things actually that I wanted to touch on. So the furlough thing, and also trying to sell the naming rights.
Yeah,
I felt like that happened because of the loss of earnings and the fact that the FFP rules got taken away during the lockdowns, and that was a way of them trying to make money back. Because I've been doing a bit of digging, because you obviously mentioned the show. I was just looking at like the loans and the money they spent and the net worth and all of the stuff that's kind of involved with FSG over the last years. It just seems like they never felt they were going to be able to compete against FFP because FFP wasn't being adhered to, and all of these clubs were just breaking the rules and spending willy-nilly, and there was no backlash. Like, Man City still haven't been found for anything yet. PSG got a bit of a slap on the wrist. Only the clubs that have kind of cheated, as in proper cheated, like, paid off referees and fiddle their taxes and stuff like that, like the major stuff, they're the only ones that seem to have been like really prosecuted over it and reduced points and stuff like that.
Because Italy don't mess around.
And also the clubs that aren't in the Premier League for some reason, like they seem to get absolutely shafted and drop out of leagues and stuff. Yeah,
I think if Liverpool, I honestly think this: if FSG decided to go F it, we'll just go try and compete with City financially now, right? Liverpool will be done by FFP straight away because they're trying to because Liverpool are a huge name and they'll make an example of Liverpool Football Club. PSG and Man City, they're not huge names in the whole sense of things. That's why Liverpool always get done for everything. Look at Virgil, the only man who's had more time to his suspension for swearing at a referee in football history. No other players ever had it for telling the ref where to go when they get sent off. Only Virgil van Dijk. They have done. By the way, Virgil's penalty today was cold. Big up, Virg. It's
he needed that.
Sorry. Yeah, it's just the way it is. And look, with FSG, on the pitch and off the pitch, they're two different kind of brands almost. They're like I compare them to Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe is two different players. There's one that plays internationally, who's the world's best player, and there's one that plays club level, who's average. And FSG are like that a bit. Behind the scenes, I don't think I can really have a go how well they run our football club. We've got a lot of sustainability in our football club. I was listening to Cal and Kopish earlier, and he was right. Liverpool got dropped by Adidas because we weren't competing where Adidas wanted us to compete before FSG came in, yeah. And then we had to go with Warrior. Them days were bad, right? Them Warrior kits, Tom, you might remember. Them Warrior kits were disgustingly awful. And for somehow, Liverpool have become these financial monsters off the pitch by having these sort of brand deals from Warrior to New Balance to eventually Nike, and built it up the right way behind the scenes. You know what I mean? So I'll give them credit for that. On the pitch, this is my argument I have with a lot of people on the pitch, and I have this argument all the time. If the answer is no to this, if Liverpool can't compete financially with Manchester City on the pitch, and I think it's fair to say they obviously can't, but they have competed with Man City on the pitch without that financial help that Man City have got. Have they done a lot wrong? If you go to the Brendan Rodgers era, Brendan should have won the Premier League title that season if he didn't get his tactics ballsed up and then peed Chelsea off by not changing the fixture when Chelsea asked for the fixture politely to be changed because they had a European game, I believe, like 48 hours before or after or something like that. Then the Crystal Palace game when you're 3-0 up away from home and decides to still play 10 up front, you know, and all this kind of nonsense. You could have won a Premier League there. So I can't really blame the owners on that fact. Then the 97-point season, if I told you guys I went to the future, we go back in time and I went to the future and I come back to Tom and Tom and you guys right now, and I go to you, Liverpool finished on 97 points, guys. I've seen the future. Liverpool finished on 97 points. Both of you go, bloody hell, we won the Premier League title, 97 points, that's quality. And then we lost it by 1 point. And then a couple of seasons after, we finished on 92 points, but somehow still don't win the Premier League. Is that down on FSG and Klopp's fault? Or is that just bad luck in the middle of a season where you don't get the rubber of the green, maybe, where I believe, was it that season when Mane should have scored against Arsenal when he was 3 yards onside and they gave it offside before VAR? You know, that would have won us the game. You know, you go back to the 92, 93 point system where season a couple of years ago when Rodri handballed it in the box against Arsenal, which should have been a red card and a penalty of Everton, which probably would have won them the game. You know, or drawn the game, sorry. All these little things, the 33 millimeters of the ball not over the line against Man City.
I mean, what about the Rodgers season where Raheem Sterling was in his own half? Do you remember that one? Man City away.
It's just
you can go through refereeing decisions.
We could spend the whole show doing that.
When we go on these things and look at what happened under Jurgen Klopp and FSG, I can't really blame the manager or the owners for getting to 97 and 99, 92 points them years and not winning the Premier League. It's unheard of.
It's the other years though where you can do it. So like, I think 18, 19. They've done everything. They spent the big money. They reinvested the Coutinho money very well. We brought in world-class players, got the job done. 1920 probably should have brought in more than just Adrian, but that squad was good enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
2020, 2021.
Tom, we spent 10 million that year.
Yeah, it was on like insane. Harvey Elliott, Vandenberg, and Adrian. And Adrian was a free transfer.
We didn't do that though. We didn't do that with Rodgers when Rodgers came second. We backed him again. Like it felt like
Rodgers got to spend the Suarez money, didn't he? The one thing I will say is whenever you make a big sale, they reinvest the money. So they reinvested the Torres money, they reinvested the Coutinho money, they reinvested the Suarez money, they reinvested the Sterling money, albeit only one of those was done properly. And other ones got us Markovic, Carroll, who else?
Oh God, we don't even want to talk about those players.
Benteke, one of them got us Benteke because he was good. They do that, but I look at the season, so like 1920, you should have done a little bit more there than just getting Taki Minamino in January for 8 mil. Then 2020, 2021, when you're down to 0 centre-backs, but you've got Matip coming back from injury, you should... It didn't take a genius to figure out Joe Matip is probably going to get injured again if he's got to play every single game. So go and not wait until deadline day. Go out early, get a centre-back. I don't care if it's the one you wanted, because I know they wanted Konate in January and they were told to do one because we were playing Leipzig. We wanted Konate, we weren't getting him. So, at that point, go, okay, we'll go get him in the summer. But what we're not going to do is go spend £4 million on Ben Davies to not play him because he's not very good. You go out and you spend 20 million on a centre-back who can eventually be a replacement for one of Matip, Van Dijk, Gomez later down the line. It's how you keep it going. It's what they should be doing as a Moneyball club. Then 21-22 to get Konate should have done more. Even though we got 92 points, they should have done more. Our only signing that summer was Konate. They waited until January to get Luis Diaz. If Luis Diaz had come in a bit earlier with the form he showed, with the quality he had, I have no doubt that one of those poor results we had earlier on in the season, think of your 3-3 versus Brentford, your 2-2 versus Brighton, them sort of results, I have no doubt in my mind that one of those becomes a win. One of those becomes a win. You have another Premier League title. Last year, to be honest, the midfield situation was a shambles. The fact they didn't address that until deadline day with Arthur Melo. But that one seemingly is more so on the management team because apparently the ownership and the scouting department gave Jurgen Klopp options, but Klopp wanted to stick with what he had. But there are plenty. And then if I go to the Rodgers days, it's just a shambles because they appointed Rodgers.
It's Damien Kamoli's fault back then, wasn't it?
They appointed Rodgers and said, we want to control the transfers. Rodgers said, no, I want to. And then the infamous transfer committee was born, which produced such fantastic moments as Ian Ayre flying to Ukraine on deadline day for Yarmolenko. And Yarmolenko didn't even know we wanted him. So when we turned up there, Yarmolenko just went, no. And Ian Ayre had to fly back. You'd had so many moments in that time where...
Ian Ayre was a legend, wasn't he? He got Firmino and he looked like he didn't know what he'd done.
Yeah,
like, I have to sign this guy. He went all the way to Brazil to get him as well, didn't he?
He got Bobby on a whim. And then Brendan Rodgers was like, I don't want him.
No,
I don't want him.
And Brendan, do you remember Firmino's debut? He played wing back.
Mate, I just remember seeing the picture of Ian Ayre when Klopp signs. And it's the photo, they have the photo of Klopp and Ian Ayre's next to it. I've never seen Ian Ayre smiling so much. He knew he'd done something right. He's done so much wrong, but he's got this one right. He's all right. He's got away with one.
You know the story of Jurgen Klopp, what happened there? Apparently, so what the story is of Jurgen Klopp coming to Liverpool is that they were talking to Jurgen Klopp for a very, very long time behind Brendan Rodgers' back. Brendan Rodgers was their manager, but they didn't have no vision in Brendan Rodgers. FSG wanted to change the vision of the football club going
That's
forward.
why they made them sack all his backroom staff, but not him. Another weird decision.
And they were looking for a manager that had the vision of FSG. That's why Carlo Ancelotti didn't want the job, because Carlo Ancelotti wants massive money and buy ready-made players and stuff like that. Yeah,
He wanted a new spine.
And FSG were at a place where we didn't have no financial wealth behind us, more like we do now, because the years of Liverpool, let's face it, in the Premier League since 1992 have not been good. So we haven't really got that commercial wealth behind us like we have now. So they were trying to change the vision of the football club. They knew Brendan Rodgers wasn't the right guy. They got rid of Mike Marsh and all that behind the scenes. They were terrible. And the other geezer that was dating Brendan Rodgers' daughter, son was dating his daughter or something like that. I can't remember that coach's name now. He got one who wore shorts even in winter. He got the sack. And they were talking to Jurgen Klopp behind the scenes for ages. And I believe they were having meetings in New York to keep it private, so no one knew, in like the offices in New York and that. And and Klopp believed in FSG's vision. And that's why he said yes to the job, because he's the biggest manager in world football at the time. I
think that's why when he was sacked was a bit of like but that was when Jurgen finally agreed to it, because a 1-1 draw away to Goodison, that's not normally a result that gets a manager sacked.
No, it was like minutes after.
He had plenty of bad losses that season to get him sacked before then.
They got in a blower. Ian Ayre just shouted out to John W. Klopp said yes, right? What's Rodgers' number? All right, Brendan. 1-0. Great.
While he's on the touchline. While he's on the touchline still.
Over. Yeah, because Brendan apparently got told he got sacked while he was working. It was hilarious. They don't care.
If you ever watched that post-match interview back, if you ever seen that interview, you can tell he knows he's been sacked.
Yeah. Take wee Joe Allen with you and get out of here.
Isn't that?
I used to love Joe Allen. I will defend Joe Allen. Joe Allen was boss. Little Welsh.
I didn't mind Joe Allen. It was the build-up from Brendan Rodgers, weren't it? He's like you'd think he's Spanish when you watch him. It's like shush. He's Welsh. I can tell he's Welsh. Stop.
He's still playing. I think Joe Allen's still playing. Isn't that the infamous Sky Sports Jamie Carragher getting his leg grabbed by Thierry Henry? Yeah.
And Henry told Liverpool that they have no idea how football's run. How could they sack Brendan Rodgers? It's like, okay, Thierry, whatever, son.
He's got it there. I mean, Montreal Impact manager Thierry Henry really knows it. He knows it a lot better.
But where I'm going with all this as well, do you think sometimes a manager makes an owner? Because if you look at owners across the world at all the football clubs, they sack managers. Managers get sacked because they're not doing their job that the owners want them to. Does it mean that the owners are really bad behind the scenes, or the manager's just terrible on the pitch? So does a manager make an owner? I look at Klopp. I believe Jurgen Klopp and FSG are a perfect partnership. I think Jurgen Klopp is a socialist. You listen to him talk. I think he probably, if Klopp was going to run a football club, he'd probably run it similar to FSG in a way. I think he likes their business stance and what they want to do. I don't think Klopp likes state-owned football clubs. You only have to hear him in interviews. I don't think he likes the way football's going financially like this. So, guys, I'll go to you first, Tom. Do you think the manager makes the owner, or does the owner make the manager?
I don't think either makes the other. I think you just have to find the perfect balance in between them.
Yeah.
I think
like our two,
what can happen is a manager can increase an owner's reputation, and ownership can increase a manager's reputation, but I don't think it makes them. I think with us, FSG had a good reputation for what they'd done in America before they got to us. Klopp had a good reputation before FSG got his hands on them. You know, it was just the perfect sort of storm of right ideas, right beliefs, and backing and support. It's how football clubs should be run. You're supposed to build an identity, a philosophy, and then bring in the people to support that, and that should come from the higher ups. I don't think that Klopp made FSG, but I think FSG would be massive beneficiaries of what Jurgen Klopp has done, because before that, they didn't exactly have the best track record. But I do think even before Klopp came in, they were showing signs of improvements. It was just a bloody arduous thing. They were taking years to figure stuff out. And you're sitting there watching it going, just get someone on that board level who knows football. I think that's why when you see all these new owners come in, the biggest advice you can give them is just get a football man on that board, because they know what's happening.
Yeah, I agree. It's like Newcastle. They got, what's her name at Newcastle?
Amanda Staveley or whatever.
Yeah, she's a big Liverpool fan, ain't she? Yeah, she.
So.
Yeah, she's a football person on that board, ain't she? K-Mac, what's your opinions, man?
I think to a certain extent the owners make the manager, but that's because depending on what type of owners you get is dependent on what type of manager you get. So if you've got owners that are kind of state-owned and they just, they just want to win trophies quickly and the turnaround will be quickly, then you might end up just getting those type of managers that aren't journeymen and just come in for a couple of trophies and know that they'll be moving elsewhere, if they don't win, like a bit like what Chelsea have done all the time. If you don't win trophies, you go, or if you don't win enough trophies, even if you still win trophies, you still go. That makes sense. So it depends on what owners you have to what manager you get. And the interesting thing as well, like I didn't know you were going to get Tom on, because I've done quite a bit of stats on FSG.
Go on, show your stats,
but they started off quite well with Kenny, like they did. Like Kenny got us, won the League Cup and got us to an FA Cup final, and then kind of got us in 8th place. And then obviously Rodgers, League Cup final 16, European League final, European Cup final, sorry, not the Champions League, but the Euro Cup. And then the FA Cup 4th round, and then 7th. And then the next season, we're now in 2013, when Rodgers came 2nd. It's an interesting thing, because it seemed like they were figuring things out, and then when Rodgers started spending money, that was when it went downhill.
Because they let him buy anyone
it's weird. You gave Rodgers money, and he just basically bought the Southampton squad.
That 14-15 window is honestly the biggest stain of a window I've ever seen.
Is that when we were? Was that the year we bought Barini, or was that the year before?
No, it was the year we bought Markovic for 20 million.
Markovic, that's it.
You'd have Markovic come in, you'd have Ricky Lambert come in, because that's going to replace Luis Suarez. Balotelli came in. You had
Gomez come in that year.
No, Gomez came in the year after. Lallana came in. I can't forget Adam Lallana. He was actually the only decent one.
Lallana was all right, to be fair. Yeah,
I feel like I'm forgetting. Origi came in that window as well, but we loaned him back out.
Yeah.
They had some proper stinker. I remember the window where they got Charlie Adam and Stuart Downing. And
Stuart Downing had one assist the whole season.
Stuart Downing with the post more times than he passed the ball.
We basically bought Charlie Adam for corners.
Yeah.
But we gave him FSG gave Rodgers 151 million that year.
And he just...
And, it's an interesting one. And then he got 126 the year after.
Was it?
Summer after
that was it. That was it. Rodgers was gone.
Is it the year after we got Milner on a free?
Yeah, that one wasn't too bad. you had
Milner was all right.
Milner on 3. Klein came in, who was all right until he
Yeah.
started doing drugs.
Allegedly.
Who else came in?
Allegedly.
Benteke came in, and
Look, and I would have thought at the time Benteke was a.
I was happy with
when we bought
Benteke.
Benteke. I was watching him doing
good.
bits for Villa, and I was like, all right, that's a Premier League proven actual goal scorer here who's going up.
I thought Benteke was going to be like the perfect partner to Sturridge, you know, big man, little man sort of thing.
And he was
Defoe Crouch, it just didn't work, did it?
It worked. Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever work again either. He's never tried it since.
No,
he's never tried the big man, little man since. But yeah, I mean that first season
Danny Ings, I thought
well.
Danny Ings was a good pick up that year.
Yeah, he was. I thought he was as well. But that first season on the Klopp.
Yeah, see, that was one of Klopp's first buys. Was loaning Stephen Colker. Obviously, his first buy was Marco Grujic, but Colker was his one of his first transfers.
It seemed to be though. I'm looking back through the windows now. It seemed to be that when he had a crap window, Rodgers done all right. The worst window he had, 13-14. That was an awful window. If we look back at the players who we brought in that window, it was a shocking window.
He just wanted players, Tom. That's the thing. Rodgers is one of the managers who just wants players. He has to have 25-man squad. It don't matter who it is. He has to get people in. He has to have
I shouldn't have pulled it up, man. I shouldn't have. You had Sacco for 17 million. Iago Aspas, Simon Mignolet, who was signed because he made loads of saves and we didn't realise
he replaced Reina. Rodgers thought he could replace Reina for no reason.
Colin Torre, Victor Moses on loan. God, I can't forget Victor Moses on loan. He was awful. Ali Sissoko. Oh my God.
So you know what I wanted to say as well.
We got 15 million for Carroll.
So you know what I wanted to say as well when I was talking about the fact that FSG were kind of learning from the mistakes. So if I'm just looking at the data that I've got that I've done, like all of the spend and all of the years that it's been done. When Rodgers went on that big mad spend, and he came 6th and then 8th, and then he obviously got the sack, and then Klopp came in. It looks like when Rodgers obviously didn't spend that much and came 2nd, and then he spent big and then dropped out. Do you feel like maybe that's why that happened in that season where we were Champions League winners coming 2nd, and then the season after they didn't back him to a huge amount because they didn't want them to be a repeat of what happened with Rodgers?
Do you know what?
I'm just thinking out loud.
That season,
I look at it, and what I know about the Rodgers days, he wanted to control the transfer. So when they were trying to get in this manager, when they were trying to get in, it was between him and Martinez, and Rodgers basically lied in his interview with the board and said, "No, you can do the transfers. I've got no problem with it." Then when he got the job, he went, "Right, lads, I want to do the transfers," which is where the transfer committee came from, which is why 15-16 we spent 50 million on Benteke and Firmino. When half the committee wanted Firmino and half of them wanted Benteke, we just went, sod it, get them both. But the crucial thing was the manager didn't want Firmino, so poor Bobby had to go do half a season at right wing back because the manager didn't like him.
That's right.
I don't think that was the case with Klopp because Klopp understood his role. Klopp was happy to let the scouts, the people higher up, what's his name, Michael Edwards, all them lot, they do that. Why we didn't spend that money that time, for me personally, is they wanted to keep all the money to go onto the training ground and the stadium expansion that they knew was coming up that just got delayed because of COVID. COVID sort of fucked everything up because from what I know, the plan originally at the football club was to sell Sadio Mane after 1920 because that's how Moneyball works. You sell the players at the pump. So it was going to be Mane who goes, then probably Salah the year after.
Yeah.
But COVID then meant clubs didn't want to spend as much money. So everything just sort of went, oh, crap. And that's
I think that kind of crippled us as well. And that's also put 74 million of external debt on the club as well, by the way. That season. because we had to get external backers for.
I think that's basically being wiped off now as well, isn't it? That's basically being wiped off. But Tom, what Tom says is right. One thing I will say is that I think Jurgen was, when he won the Premier League title with Liverpool, I think Jurgen had the Borussia Dortmund thing in his head still, that every time Dortmund won a title in Germany, the big team will come along and take his best player constantly. And it was one of the first times that Klopp had a team that at such a level with the players he had, there was nowhere really for them players to go unless it was a Real Madrid. And no one was coming in for our players because we got to such a level in Liverpool, the team and the players, everyone got such a level that they weren't going nowhere. No one wanted to leave our football club. And I partly think Klopp didn't want to upset the apple cart because he was going back to his Dortmund days when it happened to him twice, when big teams, especially Bayern Munich, will come in and chase their best players away, even when they were champions. And I felt like he thought, I probably need one or two. And I think it's only one or two we needed to bring in that will go be first team players. But Tom might be right with what the owners were thinking about expansion. And Klopp might have also been thinking about the Dortmund days where he didn't want to upset anything. And he felt like this team could go and win the Premier League. You know, they can go and win the Champions League. They can go on the next season and win the Premier League and carry on like that. So I do think Klopp had a bit of that Borussia Dortmund stuff going on in his head where, yeah, this is the first time Klopp ever had a settled team.
Can I just give you some of those years as well? Because obviously that season when Rodgers did like 11 games and then Klopp took over, finished 8th. Then a full season under Klopp, 2016, 4th. 2017, 4th. 2018, 2nd. 2019, 1st. And then we started to drop back down again. We got 3rd, and then 2nd, and then 5th. What do you reckon 2023 then? Above 5th?
Yeah. If it's below 5th, I think something's gone massively wrong.
Above 5th. I said above 5th.
Yeah, I think Liverpool. Yeah, I think Liverpool finishing top 3 this season quite comfortably. To be fair,
we do have that blip though. Like, I'm just looking at like statistics over the last, 11 years really, and we do have that blip where we do drop down and then come back in again.
It's because the owners are very, very good. Tom's already said this. Our owners are actually really good at taking you to the top of the mountain. But the problem is they can't stay at the top of the mountain.
They don't want to stay there.
It's like Mount Everest. They haven't really got the fun. If you look at football today, even if FSG wanted to, I still don't think they have the financial power to keep yourself there when you're going against these Man City teams and the Real Madrids in Europe. And stuff
you've got to look at how much the teams around you spend. Let's say we finished. Let's say we won the title this year. Man City would spend 200 million. Arsenal would spend 200 million.
Oh, that spend
Chelsea spending 200 million.
Yeah.
Each club around you is spending 200 million, and we'd sit there and go,
you've got to spend that at least to equal it to stay where you are.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of money. And they financially can't continue to do that.
This is the second highest spend under. Third highest spend under FSG though, 172 million. In 2018 it was 182 million. In 2017, 173 million. So this is back on that par. But I also did want to say as well that you talk about the Moneyball situation. We've spent 1.39 billion with FSG since 2011. But we sold 798 million. I mean, that's an incredible amount of money that we've
not really Moneyball,
that we've made back as well. Like, so in total, it's only like just under 600 million, which is basically what Chelsea have spent in the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, the money they want. Right,
but just think of that.
Our Moneyball. Do you want to know why Moneyball sort of fell apart for? It was the early days. Because they were spending like 80, 90 million a window, and then you were selling Andre Wisdom.
Yeah, exactly.
And for like 3 million. And that was where it went wrong. Like the last couple of years, I think this was a pretty weird year for it because I think we got a net spend like 100 million, but we still managed to get 50, 60 million up from sales. 18-19 was another one where Moneyball sort of went out the window. But if you count the Coutinho sale from the January, it very much evens out. So like our net spend in 17-18 because of how it is a positive one because you've got Coutinho going. The next year is a really negative one. Combine the two together, it balances out. The year we surprisingly spent fucking £10 million trying to win a Premier League title. I think that was a positive net spend year because you got rid of Mignolet for 15 or something. 2021, you got Brewster for 25. You had who else went that summer? Dejan Lovren, you got like 10, 15 for him. That paid for Jota, and they just needed to make up another 20 million for Thiago. Very minimal difference. They've gotten better with Moneyball as we've outgrown Moneyball. That's the real kicker. They've gotten better at doing Moneyball when we don't need to do Moneyball anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And look, this takes me to the next subject. So, Liverpool have been heavily linked with Leroy Sane the last couple of days. This one's a mad one to me. I don't personally get it. They're talking about it is if Salah gets sold next summer. Now, personally, I wouldn't let Salah go anywhere. Keep him for life at Liverpool Football Club. Let him retire at Liverpool. Simple as that. But, you know, Salah might have things where he wants to go. He might have promises made. We don't know what's going on in the Salah situation. But for me, I don't think Sane is a Klopp player. You know, Sane's apparently...
Klopp wanted him.
Sane's
big time. He's wanted him forever.
He was part of that young Bundesliga core from 2016 that Klopp... It was him, Goretzka, Brandt and Pulisic.
That might be them. That might be them, but is it now? That's the thing.
I don't think it is now. Personally, I think... Sane used to terrify me. I used to think Leroy Sane was the scariest player in that Man City squad.
He was the scariest player.
Because his pace and his direct nature terrified me. And then he had that knee injury and he lost that yard of base. He's still a very good footballer. He's become more technical. He's become more of a dictator. If anything now, he's more of a pep winger. He's not what we need. For me personally, if Salah goes, again, I'm on the same boat as you. Give Salah a new deal. Keep him tied down. He's showing no signs of slowing down. He's the man. If he does have to go, though, if he wants to go Saudi and make his big money, I'm not going to fault him for that. I would personally go and get Moussa Diaby from Aston Villa because I wanted him when he was at Leverkusen anyway. He's going to be more expensive now, but you get the other benefit of a year of Premier League experience. To me, that is the closest you're going to get to a Salah. He just reminds me so much of that Salah from Roma. And we're not going to be able to buy a replacement of Salah from Liverpool because we didn't even try and buy that the first time. So you're not going to be able to buy it now. You go and buy your Salah from Roma and trust that your manager can have a similar success story with this one. But it's going to be hard to because the standards are a lot higher to live up to. What was Salah having to live up to when he joined? Daniel Sturridge? Hard to live up to that in those days. Now, whoever comes in has got the biggest crown to try and live up to. And
you wouldn't want to be Salah's replacement, would you? No matter who you are. No matter who you are.
I don't think Salah's going to go. And it's a weird one, but I don't think he's going to go because I just don't think that league's got enough support. It hasn't got enough fan base yet.
Oh, it will be if Salah's there. Mark my words. The whole country.
I mean, we're all saying that, but it's still not being supported like we all thought it would. You've got players playing in front of like 100 fans. Like it's bonkers. Salah isn't in for that.
Those Jordan Henderson quotes he said in that interview become less and less realistic every match week that passes. When you see 300 people attended a Letifax game, and you're going, Jesus, Jordan.
I think the fanfare will blow out as well. Like, for me, I think Salah is after Premier League records now. I mean, we know he was after Liverpool records. But now he started breaking Premier League records now, and he's a stat monster, isn't he? He wants more and more. And if he's being paid $1 million now that Harvard report came out, and you can see all of the incentives and all of the extra things he gets. He's a high paid player. He's a high paid player. So, and he's adored. Adored by Liverpool fans.
I don't get it because if I look at Mo, I still think Mo feels like he can compete at the highest level possible. And we're not in the Champions League this season. So if he fires us back into the Champions League next season, which I think we pretty much will, because I think we'll get top 3 at least, And I don't think Mo would want to leave when Liverpool play in the Champions League the next season. And we've just got these new players, and Gravenberch has had a year, Szoboszlai's had a year, McAllister's had a year. You know, Liverpool apparently going to do up the back line next season, and I believe it actually. I think they will. You know, you've got Alisson still at the football club, Trent still at the football club. I think it'd be a madness for him to want to leave, but I could also understand if he just goes, yeah, I want to go to Saudi Arabia, because I would understand it on his half. Yeah, I would understand it, but Liverpool have got a. It's going to be a strange summer for Liverpool, because for me,
I think we need to get his replacements in now, though. Anyway, maybe it's not a Diaby type, because I think he's going to want to play because he's playing at Aston Villa already. You know, I don't think he'd move from Villa to be the bench player behind Salah. But maybe this is where you go and invest in a 20-year-old and go, because I love Ben. I think Ben Doak is a fantastic talent, but that role of Salah backup is just way too much pressure on a 17-year-old's shoulders. For me, I'd be looking at trying to get in a winger who's between 20 and 24. Get them in, let them know the roles behind Salah for the next 2-3 years. But it might not just be exclusively that. Maybe you could go up front. Maybe you could go on the left. Maybe Salah moves up front because that's a natural evolution he takes. All these sort of things have got to be sort of produced. But the fact that we don't have an out-and-out backup for him now does worry me a little bit. So I would want that addressed next window. But like you were saying, you get that window addressed. You get that winger addressed. You get that defence addressed. You're able to add, I believe it's going to be Andre. You get him in for your DM, and you potentially even add one more in the summer, but that's very wishful thinking. That squad then is good enough to compete for the league and the Champions League. And with the way Salah is, I don't see him wanting to leave that situation. The one part of it that would worry me is he's moving into the last year of his deal next year. So next year is the last year of his deal. Are the owners going to pull rank and go, no, we're not letting him leave on a free?
You can't let
Salah letting that risk happen.
No, you can't.
And also, what I wanted to say as well is, if Salah goes, it will probably be because Klopp's gone.
I mean, when's Klopp?
They both leave at once.
I think their contracts run at similar time.
Yeah.
But with Mo, I swear I read that Mo.
I don't want it to happen.
I swear Mo Salah has an option to extend his contract by 1 year. I swear I read it somewhere. That Mo Salah has an option to extend his contract by 1 year to 2026, I believe.
See, that would take him in line to when Klopp's contract goes, because Klopp goes in 2026.
But
so
I
wouldn't be shocked if both of them sort of went at the same time.
You're both right, though, with the owner's situation. They can't let Salah leave on the free. No matter what we all think about, we'll just go sell Salah. But can you afford to leave for him for free? No, we're paying Salah.
And then Klopp leaves to manage El Hal.
Yeah, I don't think
they just go off and make the money in the Saudi league. We want Saudi, so it's not competitive enough. It's just the money's too big.
I honestly think Klopp signs a new contract. I actually do, but I look at Mo and it's like, I can't blame the owners if they want to let Mo go because of a massive bid comes in because they don't want to leave him on a free. It's not like Mo's paid peanuts at Liverpool. He's paid financially very well. I will say this: they have backed Mo Salah financially very well all the time.
£350,000 a week base salary. He's the third highest base player in the league. Obviously, we don't know what is. I don't know. Some people will. I don't know what is.
Well, his rumours he gets paid $1 million a week. That's his rumours.
Yeah, that million a week. The Harvard thing was worded weirdly. That's with sponsorships included.
Yeah.
So I think the most he gets from the football club is $500,000 a week. That's if let's say we win the league, we win the Champions League. He gets golden boots in both. He breaks all sorts of records. I think the most he can get is $500,000 a week. But we massively smashed our wage budget or whatever it is, the wage cap, whatever, to give him this $350,000 a week. We have leveraged the future of certain players by giving him this deal, because the likes of Trent, who's due a new deal as well, he's going to sit there and go, well, if Salah's on 350, I want 250. I want 300. I'm a very important player in this side. I'm young, vice captain. Van Dijk's due a new contract. He's on $200,000 a week. I wouldn't be shocked to see him go, maybe I want a little bit of a bump, because now that everything sort of went up, I want a bump as well. The good thing that we've done is get Alisson tied down to a long-term deal. So he's got a pay increase last year, I think. So he's
Yeah, he
now
did,
on
yeah.
200 grand a week. Everything's sort of rising up. How much does Salah get if he gets a new deal? That's the ultimate question for me. Does he get another pay increase?
It'll have to go
I don't think
400k
he
a week.
would.
400k a
I don't
week,
think he
maybe.
would. And because he's getting into the age of it'll be his last contract, I think we've probably got every right to just cap it. Like, just say, look,
This is what
like,
you earn. This is what you earn.
this is what you
But
earn. Like, other players get decreases.
I will say the only player they've really bent over for wage-wise is Mo Salah.
Yeah.
And there must be something in there that they see. Maybe his commercial revenue that Mo Salah makes is just too much to let go. Maybe that's the reason, because he is the player they've bent over for the most.
He's just a perfect mix, I think. His performances haven't dwindled at all in the 6 years. He's been the most consistent player there. He's a fantastic revenue generator in terms of his, place in Arab football. He's the biggest face over there.
We get
combine
an
everything
insane
together.
amount of press boxes.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how popular we are in terms of the Arab journalists coming over to try and do anything with the football club because we have Salah, which is why when you consider all that, I can see why. Even when you look at that same summer, he got that deal. Sadio Mane was wanting one, but the club told him to do one. You're not getting it, because you could see with Sadio Mane, he wasn't the same player.
He dropped,
and he doesn't bring in as much money. It's not as financially reasonable, and the club made the right decision there because Sadio Mane fell off a cliff. The one side were there.
A little bit about Salah as well is that new stand that we've that's obviously going to be built.
What, the Navigator stand, because it's never ready. That's what I've called it now. The Navigator stand.
All of those press boxes have already been sold out.
Yeah,
and that's mainly because of Salah. They're all Middle Eastern companies that will be taking all of those.
It's like 3,000 hospitality seats in that place, isn't
it? This is what I'm saying.
All gone.
I think this club sees too much commercial revenue in Mo Salah. I think if it comes to it, we'll find out this summer, in my opinion, coming up. Next summer, we'll find out where. I wouldn't be surprised if they just offered him 400k a week, 2 years extra on his deal. That wouldn't shock me.
I mean, we don't know him personally as well, but I don't see any reason why he'd want to leave the football club. He's fucking adored. He's adored by these fans. Yeah. I think he adores the fans. It's family. I like to think we're a special club in the way that we treat everything about a player. And the clips of his daughter at the end of the season when she runs out on her own and scores in the cup and everyone's cheering. I know every club does that. But as a player, that must feel really, heartwarming and nice to see when it happens. I don't see any reason why he'd want to leave when everything is considered. Like we've been saying, the squad is, for me, preparing for another 2-3 year proper charge at everything. He's loved it by the club. He loves the club. Oh yeah, he's the face of it. I think this is the big difference, because the last time we done it, I believed he was still the best attacker, but you had Mane getting a lot of the plaudits, Van Dijk rightfully getting a lot of the plaudits because of his performance at the back. This time going into it, as good as Szoboszlai is, he doesn't touch Mo Salah.
No.
As good as Van Dijk still is, doesn't touch Mo Salah. As good as Trent is, doesn't touch Mo Salah. As good as Alisson is, he doesn't touch Mo Salah. Mo Salah will be the face of it for the next 3 years, whereas before, I think he was wrongfully battling with other players for that face. Now he is it. And that, it must be a massive draw to a player, because they are ego-driven. Whether people like it or not, players are ego-driven, and the chance to be the face of one of the biggest clubs in the world as they go for all these honours, or I know he'd be getting like a million a bit a week in Saudi. That offer's always going to be there for me. He's so big over there. That offer's there.
Yeah,
you know what as well? You know what about Salah as well, which I will touch on, is we're really lucky that we haven't got a nutter, because those type of players that are just crazy driven by stats and just being able to go on and on and on, they're normally a bit psycho. There's so many of them out there. They're all a bit tapped. But Mo is just he's just the total opposite. He's so chill, so down to earth.
He loves the city. He loves the club. He loves the manager. He loves everything about it. He's the one who always looks the most heartbroken when Liverpool don't achieve their goals. He's the one who comes out on social media and apologises for the football club. and you can tell like straight
He came
away
out
this
before the
summer.
captain did. After
Yeah,
last
exactly.
season,
I mean,
by
it
the
tells
way.
you everything, don't it? It tells you everything, and you can tell this summer that Mo came out this summer, and you can tell the way Mo's playing. Like he ain't taking what happened last year. You know what I mean? I can see it straight away. For me, Mo Salah's the best player in the league this season, in my opinion.
100%.
And
I don't think a player comes close to it either. Just the sheer way he's playing.
Yeah,
Both aspects of attacking play.
And if I do it right now, would I rather a 28-year-old Leroy Sane at Liverpool or a 32-year-old Mo Salah? I'm going for a 32-year-old Mo Salah every day of the week.
I think it gets understated just how mental what Mo Salah's doing is. 6 years at the top, where his average, I think, I done it in my head the other day, I can't remember it now, but I think his average is 23 goals and 10 or 11 assists a season in the Premier League on average. That's pretty much 35 goals a season guaranteed from Mo Salah. That is more than certain clubs will score in a whole season. And he can do that on his own.
I've got a good one for you on Salah, by the way. You know, the GA thing that everyone talks about, they're off. 2017-18, 60 GA. 2018-19, 39 GA. 2019-20, 36 GA. 2021, 37. 21-22, 47. 22-23, 46. So that 30 that people say is bull.
The man's disgusting. He's the best right winger in world football. No one touches him. All this pleasing on the eye.
He started taking pens 2 seasons ago, by the way, as well.
Yeah, and I still don't.
I'll be honest though, I don't like it. I don't like watching him take penalties.
I watch Salah like this.
I don't think he's very good.
I don't know about you lot, but when Salah takes a penalty, I watch it like this.
He doesn't have the best technique. He just sort of hits it.
You know what? They're all down the middle.
Do you know what?
80% of them are down the middle. The goalie just needs to stand still. I'm obviously not giving them tips.
The greatest footballer of all time in Leo Messi wasn't a great penalty taker either.
No.
You know what I mean? He's the greatest footballer of all time.
And I just love how the idea that the narrative that the media were trying to run with at one point was, he's just a poacher. He's just a goal scorer. He doesn't do enough to help the team. So then he went, all right then. And he dropped the Playmaker Award. he went and won that ahead of KDB. Last season, he got 13 assists in the Premier League for a Liverpool team that is the worst it has been under Jurgen Klopp. And this season, we are 9 games in the Premier League, and he's got 5 assists already.
I think
created the most big chances. He's the best creator in the league.
I think he's going to beat Henry's record for assists this season.
He needs attackers to turn up. Well, I don't see why.
He needs Big Darwin to just put a few away.
If Nunes costs him this record.
Because let's face it, I'm not being, because I love Darwin Nunes.
I think he's brilliant.
I think the more Darwin plays week in, week out, I think the better player he comes. I don't think it's helping him being in and out a lot. But Darwin should have 3 or 4 more goals already this season, and Salah should have 3 or 4 more assists.
I have a weird thing with Nunes. I think he's one of those. I think there's certain strikers who you're either ice cold in any situation, which is the select few, the likes of a Suarez, the likes of of Van Basten. These all-time great strikers were just so composed. Then you've got the ones who, when they've got loads of time, make the right decision, but on instinct aren't great strikers. Then you've got the ones who, when they have loads of time to think, are awful. They make the wrong decision. They can't hit a ball. But when you fire a ball in at them, dead hard, with no time to think, instinct takes over. They throw a body parts in the back of the net. That is Nunes down to a T. And I go straight to the West Ham game where Salah's played him through on the penalty spot, unmarked, acres of space, and he's put it wide. Then his goal is fighting off the defender, off a long ball over the top. The keeper's starting to come out, and he just flicks a leg at it. Instinct takes over in the back of the net. Even like the Union St. Gilloise game, simplest chance you could ask for, you had too much time. You dragged it wide. He's just one of those strikers, and I think it can work. I think it can change, because Fernando Torres was one of those ones who, at the start of his career, was better on instinct than when he had time, but he was able to nurture it and mature and become, for 2 seasons, one of the best strikers in the world. I like the fact that we can. I like the fact though that we don't have to rely on Nunes, because for me, you have the opposite, the ice cold finisher in Diogo Jota, who for me is the best finisher at the football club.
I
You
agree.
can if Nunes isn't playing, you drop Jota in. You know he can do nothing all game, and then he's bagging, and that's all that wins football games.
Let's talk about that a minute, because I think we're all determined to have Mo Salah stay. I don't really want Leroy Sane at the club, full stop, be honest. I think Leroy Sane at 21, bring him. Leroy Sane at 28 now, I just don't think he can do what Klopp will want him to do. I don't know if he'd have the mentality to defend up the wings, to track back his fullback constantly in the Premier League. That's why he fell out with Pep. You know what I mean? He weren't doing what Pep wanted him to do. So
I'm not sure we want Sane at the club because Mane punched him. So
what's
going on there?
I think we've obviously got a very good relationship with Bayern Munich over the last few years, because we've bought 2, sold 1 to Bayern in the last few seasons. So we've obviously got a good relationship with Bayern Munich. So if there is a deal to be done, I reckon you could probably get a deal done between Liverpool and Sane with Bayern Munich, no problem. But I don't fancy it. But if we look at our front three, for me, I think Jota is our best finisher, but if I'm going on the way Jurgen Klopp wants to play, I do think our best front three is Diaz, Darwin, and Mo right now, because they stretch the opposition better than any other front three that we would be able to pick. Because Jota is more, coming towards the ball. Gakpo's more about coming towards the ball. They haven't got that pace that that front three have, but the tremendous footballers at the same time. So that would be my front three. I would have Jota low, never on the left wing. If Jota plays, he has to play number 9.
He has to be in the box. You have to
he
get
has
him in
to
the
play
box
number 9 because he hasn't just. He's good on the left wing. I don't think he's crap or anything like that. He has great games occasionally, but he can fill a role. But if you really want to get the best out of him, Fox in the box at number 9 is best suited.
I mean, just go back to 21-22 that season when he was up front, because Bobby was struggling with injuries at the start of the season. Jota was up front. Jota ended that season with 20 goals. People seem to just forget that Diogo Jota got 20 goals that season, and then he got the foot injury, and then was just sort of in and out the team because Diaz came in and was really good. For me, that one thing I would like to see Jurgen Klopp do at some point this season. I don't think he will, because I think he's got different vision for the player, but I'd like to see Gakpo on the left.
Yeah, I'm sick of seeing him in the middle now. I want to see him on the left wing. It should be.
I think he can cause fullbacks a lot of problems.
Diaz first choice, Gakpo second choice, Darwin first choice, Jota second choice, and then Mo's just Mo.
I think don't get me wrong. I think there's certain games where you need Gakpo
rotate. Rotate.
Yeah, I think there's. For me, I've said this all season. I think if we rock up to Man City tomorrow, if Man City's the game we're playing tomorrow, and you ask me to pick a front three, I'm putting Gakpo up front so he can man mark Rodri. And he's not going to mark him out the game, but he's going to disrupt the build-up enough. My striker against City isn't going to be the forefront. It's always going to be Salah. I don't need my striker to be dragging defence here, there, and everywhere, because we're not going to have as much of the ball. What I need is a front line that can do the dirty work, cover the passing lanes, and create 2 or 3 big chances. And for me, we play Man City or Arsenal tomorrow. I'm playing Jota on the left and Gakpo in the middle. And that is the only set games for it, because I need Jota's defensive work, even though he got sent off last time. And I need Gakpo in the middle to cut passing lanes to the DM. Any other opposition where we're going to be dominant, Nunes has to play, because he opens up the game behind for McAllister and Jones and Szoboszlai. I think, unfortunately for Gakpo, because he was so good in that false 9, he's now the biggest loser of us signing really good attacking midfielders, because we now no longer need someone to drop in and create there, because the midfielders can do that. That was why Bobby was so good, because as good as Wijnaldum was at a point, as good as Henderson was at a point, as good as Fabinho was at a point, they were never creators. They were never going to get you 10 assists a season. They were never going to sit in that hole and play incisive through balls and create so many chances. You needed someone else to do that, and Bobby was perfect at that. Now, though, Dominic Szoboszlai, for me, can get you 10 and 10. If we're able to push McAllister forwards, that's someone who can get you 5 and 10. Jones, in limited minutes, can get you 3 and 3. Gravenberch, I think, is going to be another one who can produce some really good numbers from that position. Trent, when he inverts, you just know he's going to get crazy numbers because of the range of pass and all that stuff. We don't need someone to then further add to that midfield and block it even more and try and create more, because there's almost too many cooks in the kitchen.
That's why we look more comfortable with 10 men.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I'd love to see? And it's a bit left field, and Klopp probably won't do it. I would love to see a Núñez Salah front two. I'd absolutely love to see that.
Like we saw a little bit last season when
I think those two have got a really good relationship already, and he's kind of telepathic with him now. Suarez is Suarez. Salah is.
It reminds
Suarez.
me. It reminds me of some people just Andy Cole and Dwight York. Yeah, when you took Andy Cole away from Dwight York weren't as quite the player, right? But as soon as you put them with Andy Cole again, they were devastating on the pitch. Hated each other in real life off the pitch, but on the pitch, devastating with each other. For some reason, Darwin and Mo Salah have just got this ability to be really good with each other. And yeah, you want to take advantage of that more. I do think Gakpo and Jota have got a pretty nice chemistry when they play together as well.
I think Gakpo has a pretty good chemistry with everyone. I think Gakpo and Salah have good chemistry with everyone. I think Diaz is one who I think struggles for chemistry with people, but I have no problem with that because I see Diaz. I have Diaz in the team as just your wild card. No one else in our squad can do what he does, so I leave him to do what he does. But it's the likes of Jota, Núñez, Gakpo I need to see the chemistry from, and they've got it. This is why I'm so happy with the way that we've built that front line. I wouldn't change any of those attackers. I think we have everything we need. We just need a little bit more depth for Salah. Doak can cover for a year, but I don't want him to be the long-term backup because I don't want to have to rely on him. I don't want to have to rely on him.
It is difficult to sell a backup because if you look at him before, Messi and Ronaldo didn't really have backups of their positions because they played all the time, no matter what, because they're the star player. Salah's the star player. He's never injured, touch wood, and he plays all the time. So looking for a backup for Mo Salah is extremely difficult.
It's very hard to sell a player on that role.
Yeah, that's why you got to go the young way. You got to go and look for a young 20-year-old up-and-coming player who looks like they're going to be a star. But you got to take your time for them and build them up slowly.
I mean, the benefit of getting one of those in as well is to get the chance to learn off Salah. I mean, there's not many wings in world football you'd want to learn off. He's the best. He's the benchmark.
Like the way Kelleher's learned off Alisson. That sort of.
The crazy thing as well is that whole right side. Those players just never get replaced. Like, there's never going to be any backup for them because they're never going to get a game.
Like Salah.
Like Trent was never going to come out of the team. Salah was never going to come out of the team. So you end up moving your centre back into that position as cover.
That right side is dirty. Trent, Szoboszlai and Salah.
I do feel a little bit sorry for Szoboszlai because he just doesn't get arrested the minute. Every single game he's getting dragged on if he's on the bench when he's starting.
He's just.
I was going to touch on that as well. Someone's just wrote Masalowski. Like, he's still around. Like, do you feel like he should be getting a fair crack of the whip now?
It's his parents, man.
I feel like he would have got his fair crack of the whip if he was good enough. But I think there's other deeper lying issues.
I
know he's had injury problems. I think
he was going to leave, wasn't he? But he's staying now.
Yeah, he tried to force through a move this summer. I don't think that he's warm to the senior staff at the club. I mean, the one thing I will say is that they give academy kids opportunities.
Yeah, especially Klopp. If you're good enough, Klopp will give you a go.
It's more of a stain on Mushalovsky than on Klopp or the management because Ben Doak was in our academy for 3 months and he got called up to the first team squad.
Yeah,
that was all he was in there for. Mushalovsky's been in that academy for 4 or 5 years now, and
I think Trent Cone-Doherty's next, isn't he?
Oh, he's brilliant as well. The young lad we signed from Leicester as well, the midfielder, Trey Naoni. Every week you're seeing him.
Kwanzaa. I mean, he's come through now. He looks like a legit defender.
We've got a player in our hands there.
I think he's going to be a superstar. I really do. I think we just have to settle him down. Like, it's not going to hype, but he looks like he's going to be a player.
He's got all the attributes you want.
Yeah, he's quick, he's strong, he's big, he's tall.
He's got all that as well. But this is the big thing with centre backs.
He's one step ahead.
He's not one of the. I haven't seen it anyway, albeit it's been limited minutes. But even when he was playing academy football, he was never one of those ones who had a bozo moment. We've had plenty of centre backs who love the mistake. Sacco, Lovren, Klavan, Skrtel. Do I need to carry on going? I can. Kolo Toure. We've had plenty, and you can see it when you're watching them. But Kwanzaa doesn't. He's got that calmness. He's got that confidence, and he's just ready for the game. And I'm happy that we have. I'm happy, to be honest, that Gomez and Matip have stepped up to a degree this season to where we don't need to rely on Kwanzaa already. We can limit the game time he's in and just let him grow a little bit more naturally rather than having to throw him to the wolves constantly. He gets chances. he gets his opportunities and he's performing them, and that's the best thing for his development. The one kid who we did miss out on because of the injury, I know he's back now, but I don't think he'll ever be the same player, was Kai Gordon.
Yeah, the injuries messed him up, unfortunately.
The hip injury that he got was horrific. 18 months out.
Doak's taking his spot now.
He was supposed to be the best young talent in the country.
I think he was. I think Kai Gordon was. Yeah, I think Kai Gordon was going to be a player while I watched him.
He was.
Unfortunately, injuries has taken his young career, but Doak's in front of him now. I'm just quickly say, look. So, did anyone see the VAR in the Holland-Greece game tonight? Where they said you can't stop the game. Yeah. Well, they stopped the game twice to go back twice to look at the same VAR incident on the screen to get the correct decision. So all this ball that you can't.
Jamie, no comment, mate. We're not getting banned.
You can't stop a game.
The last time you had me on, we got banned.
Yeah, we got banned. But
no
yeah,
comment.
You can't stop a game. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Our next 4 fixtures, guys, after the international break. Obviously, this coming Saturday, we have got the Merseyside derby at home. Then we have got Nottingham Forest a week after at home. Then we're away to Luton on bonfire night. And then we're at home to Brentford.
Luton away worries me. Luton away is just...
Right. This should be 4 W's, yeah? We can all agree with that, right? In these 4 games...
like that Luton one. Sorry.
In these 4 games, if we don't beat Luton away, even away at Kenilworth...
No, but you got to understand, Jamie, Luton are going to have their one big home game.
Oh, Luton, this is going to be their FA Cup final. I mean, it's...
No, I don't even mean just the sense that we're turning up. I mean, Luton are going to beat a big team at home this season. Yeah. And knowing our fucking luck, it will be a 1-0 to Luton, where we hit the bar, we have a goal ruled out for offside, we have a goal ruled out for the foul, VAR intervenes, and then they get a crappy back post header with 10 minutes to go, and we lose 1-0.
If that happens, I need an investigation into everything if that happens. But
when's that Luton game? How many games have we got until it is the Luton game? Are we going to have a full strength squad back?
So we got Liverpool, Everton, Merseyside derby on the weekend. Then we got Liverpool to lose. That's at home as well. That's on the 26th of October, in between Liverpool and Forest. Then we've got Bournemouth in the League Cup away from home. Klopp's just going to make the reserves in that. And then we're away to Luton on the 5th. Got Toulouse on the 9th. And then Brentford at home. And then the Man City game on the 25th of November away from home. So then 4 league games.
They should all be wins.
Do you go Luis Diaz, Darwin and Mo Salah for them 4 games as your front 3? Should Darwin be playing against them 4 teams?
I don't think he will start the derby because...
No, I don't think he'll start the derby. Because
he's hot-headed.
He's a hothead.
I don't even think I want him to start the derby because of that sort of thing. I don't like the fact that we're trying to train that out of him. I think he needs that natural aggression in the game. I just think it's what are the South American internationals like? When do they get back from where they're playing? Because if it's another one of those situations where they get back Friday and we play 12:30 Saturday. Okay, McAllister was dead against Wolves. He was blowing out his arse after 45 minutes against Wolves. I don't want to see our players.
We might have to blame now, Tom, because Gapco mightn't be back.
He might not be, but then I think that would be a situation where he'd go Jota. He'd probably start Jota in the middle, Diaz on the left, Salah on the right, and then bring Núñez on for Diaz in like the 50th minute.
Yeah, that's I mean, these 4 games coming up, who knows? It's got to be
12 points. If you get 12 points going into City, and bear in mind, we're only a point behind them. If they drop any sort of points and we get 12 or above them going into that game at the Etihad.
That's what I'm saying. At the beginning of this season, it's not that bad. You know, the beginning of this season is not that bad.
And we've had a tough run. I think out of all the sides there, I'd argue we had the toughest. You had Stamford Bridge, which is always a horrible place to go, especially first game of the season under a new manager. Newcastle away, Tottenham away, which was a robbery, Brighton away. And then at home, we've had Aston Villa, West Ham, and Bournemouth.
Yeah, Bournemouth's the cakewalk one, isn't it?
I think we've had the 6th hardest run in, and we've also had, like, how many games with 10 men? How many games with all the referees against us?
And
how many games
1 robbery. I have to
it depends.
So
And a
it's not a bad start.
completely new midfield. Sorry.
Yeah,
And a completely
exactly.
new
So it's
midfield.
not a bad start. That's why I'm an happy Liverpool
bad
fan at
start.
the moment. I ain't got a lot to complain about. Andre, guys. So we're hearing at the moment that Arsenal Edu flew over to Fluminense. He's got pals over there. He's got a crib, and was chatting away and interested in Andre. But then there's some sources in Liverpool that are saying Liverpool and Fluminense have got a sort of under the table handshake deal that will take Andre to Liverpool in January. Tom, what do you reckon, man?
I think it's the right thing to do. I mean, I know we wanted them in the summer, and we offered them 27 million, and they told us normally we'd say yes, but we're in this Copa Libertadores thing or whatever it's called, and they've got a real chance of winning that, so they want to keep him around. I've seen that Fluminense squad as well. It's just throwbacks. They've got Marcelo at left back. They've got Ganso on attacking mid. They've got a 43-year-old goalkeeper. It's just the funniest squad I think I've seen. Get him in though in January. Is he the DM that we're used to seeing at Liverpool? Probably not, no. We're used to seeing more of a brick shithouse destroyer who flies into tackles, probably not the best on the ball, but they get a job done in that way. I think Andre's more of a possession type. He has that nasty side to him, which I like, but he's more of a possession-based, on the ball, dictating tempo, which I think is the way that we're trying to go as a midfield. Because if we were trying to go the old way, I think Endo will be playing, but Endo isn't. He's keeping McAllister in that position because of what McAllister offers you on the ball. So I wouldn't be shocked to see us trying to move to a fluid midfield three that can all sort of do a job in every position, all have the same sort of similar skill set, very good at retaining on the ball. So you get him in. He seems by all numbers to be a fantastic option at 22, playing for the Brazilian senior squad. I don't really see many issues with him. He's small, so he doesn't win a lot of headers, but just we can learn that. He can find other ways to do that. I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched him. I've never watched a Brazilian league game in my life. I do not plan on watching the Brazilian league games, but I've only heard good things. And for the price tag of around 20 odd million, that's good business in this market. It's good business in this market. Like 20 million, he's fantastic, and he doesn't. I think you get the flexibility with him. Where let's say you're buying for the 6, you're playing their second half of the season, and he's not the ideal option. He doesn't lock you into having to play him as a 6. He can move a bit further forwards, and then you can go out and buy that big 6 that you want, the more traditional 6, if that's the way you want to go for it. But I don't see any issues with that. I hope all the rumours and the murmurings that we've got an agreement with Fluminense and that relationship's strong and it's all practically done already. It's just waiting for the formalities is true, because I was big this summer on wanting all the midfielders we signed to be the same age range so that they can grow together, and we have a unit together for the next 5 years rather than constantly having to add or subtract. If you get Andre in, I'm not counting Thiago because he might well be dead. I've just not seen anything from this season. You've got Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones.
He's going to be our next manager. He's doing his badges.
I don't even know where he is. He's not even like
doing his badges.
The only photo I've seen of Thiago this season is the first day of pre-season when he wasn't even in training gear. That's the only photographic proof I have of him being alive. You know them things where they like send a photo for proof of life? We haven't got one of those.
Tom, are you telling me that Thiago's gone off grid?
Every single time you think he's coming back, he's had another setback. He ordered another setback.
You think about I think what you're getting to.
Setback on his setback.
I think what you're getting to, Tom, we get Andre in January. You're looking at Andre, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Curtis Jones, Stefan Bajcetic. That's looking at a very good midfield. And then Thiago does come back off the grid and he enters the pool again, then that's a great player. That is a heck of a midfield. And
can I just touch on that?
Okay, man. Before I come to you, what is the number 6? Like Tom says, there's a number 6 we want as fans, yeah. But does Klopp think differently? Does Klopp look at it and because if you look at what we got in this defensive midfield issue at the moment, the only midfielder that's playing the number 6 role in our whole squad is McAllister. And if you go on and look on the quotes Klopp has said, they see McAllister as a defensive midfielder. That's what they see him as. So do you think that Liverpool and Klopp are looking at getting Andre in to have this double pivot with him and McAllister, and then his forward midfielders are going to be Gravenberch and Szoboszlai? Do you think that's the plan?
I think it's like that, yeah.
I think what we're probably looking at is multifunctional midfielders, and not so much a rigid type of midfielder. And I think that's probably learning from what we've had in the past, where we've had certain players that can only do certain jobs, and then when we need them to do other jobs, they can't.
Well, like
no names in particular.
Had to go at centre back,
no
and then
names
we were left with Milner at defensive midfield for one game. Then it was Wijnaldum, then it was Jones, then it was Thiago.
Exactly.
I could have got a game with DM in that run of games because we were just trying everyone there. And I think, like you were saying, we're trying to get multifunctional. All these players, it's not like I can put them down for a certain position, but they all have similar skill sets. They all are very good on the ball, good passing, very good at driving with the ball and retaining it and dribbling and getting forwards, operating the final third, operating the middle third. Would it be potentially nice to have a little bit more of a destroyer in terms of, let's say you've got 15 minutes to go in a game and you just want to bring someone on to sit in that midfield, crunch some people, let them know they're there, stop any attacks that are trying to go through that way? Sure, because I do think at points we can be a little bit weak, a little bit of a soft underbelly there. But I also believe that strengthens us massively in terms of the going forward sides of things, because we can trust that midfield to do something. When we were in our pomp, God knows I didn't want Gini Wijnaldum or Jordan Henderson operating near the box trying to create, because it wasn't going to happen. It was Firmino down the middle. It was Trent on the right. It was Roberts on the left. If all of those were gone, it's a prayer to God that we get a goal off a corner or something. But now that we've got Szoboszlai, Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch, you potentially had an Andre, you've still got Gakpo, you've got Salah, who's in just the best creative form in the world, you've got Trent still, you've got Robertson. You have so many options there that if a team is able to limit a couple of them, you just move on to another one. We become so hard to predict, which I think was the big thing about us and what eventually led to us falling apart last year. Teams knew what we wanted to do. And it's very easy. The saying is, you know what you want to do, but can you stop it? You could stop it last year because the players weren't at the level anymore.
Managers came out and said it. Managers came out and said, we know what Klopp's going to do. But those years when we were flying and we were getting to finals and we were winning cups, they couldn't do nothing about us.
You know why? Because Henderson was 25 back then and he was an athlete then.
Exactly.
Now, people might not like it, but he was back then. He tracked up and down that right-hand side for 90 minutes.
Henderson was sensational back then.
I'm
not having anyone say bad about him. He was
Wijnaldum under the press was amazing. You couldn't press Wijnaldum back then. His ball retention was top-notch, and Fabinho was actually good back then. So when you got that, and then you got that firepower up front, and then you got Van Dijk at the peak of his defensive ability, and you got Alisson Becker on goal, you go almost impossible to defeat. And I think that's what Klopp's trying to get back to. And I think he didn't have the right midfield to do it last season. That's why he never really changed the way he wanted to play too much, because he's got this way he wants to play that he believes is the winning way. The way to play football is counter press. Yeah, and he believes that is the way. That's why we don't play over number 10. And he continued it even with the players that he couldn't do it anymore. Now he's got McAllister in, he's got Szoboszlai in, he's got Gravenberch in. Who, by the way, I said this in my show earlier today. I think Gravenberch might be pound for pound the best signing we made this season. I think Szoboszlai is quality, but the amount of money we pay for Gravenberch, it's half of Szoboszlai's money. I think he might be pound for pound the best bit of business we've done this season.
I think he's the most exciting one that we've got because of all the potential he's got. He was in conversations with like Bellingham and that for like the best young midfielder in the world a couple of years ago. The move to
Bellingham and Camavinga, that was the chat.
Yeah, like if we can somewhat tap back into that player, which I think it's been positive signs so far. I know we had the miss against Brighton, but I thought he was bright when he came on. Real good at getting us forward, holding the ball. Gave us an element of control in that game. Obviously, in the Europa League, he's been fantastic. Off the bench, he's been good. I look at all these things with Gravenberch. I sit there and go, there's no better manager to work under to develop than Jurgen Klopp. For me, anyway. He taps into that properly. You've got a special player.
This is a rebirth for a player, by the way, in Gravenberch. He knows how lucky he is to be at our club and work under Klopp. Apparently, he's ripping up trees in training. Like, he's insane. Like, he's putting so much effort in. And the fact that he's pissed off his Holland team's even better. Because he's got more time with us.
Gravenberch made himself a fan favourite straight away when he said, I'm not going to go on national duty because I want to make myself at home at Liverpool. Straight away, you're like, right, we love the guy. Straight away, you're like, love the guy, love him. I look at this, I'm excited about this Klopp 2.0, whatever you want to call it, future, because I think Gravenberch, Szoboszlai and McAllister are tremendous footballers. McAllister's not probably getting these flowers at the moment because of the job he's doing, but I actually think McAllister's doing the job he's asked to do pretty well, considering it's not his speciality position. And I don't think he's getting the credit for the job McAllister's took on without moaning about. And he's just right, I'll do it. I'll give it a go. And he's trying his best at it. And it's not working, but it's not his position. You go and get Andre in January. You've got Stefan Bajcetic, who we all loved last season, who looks like he could be a tremendous footballer. Curtis Jones has proved a lot of people wrong. He's actually a very decent footballer, as part of your squad, and gives good balance to our midfield. People might not like that, but he does. That's why he plays. And then you've got this front line of Mo Salah, Jota, Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Gakpo. And then Van Dijk's not finished. Alisson's still the best keeper in the world. We might need to get a new left back in the summer because Robbo's giving me Fabinho vibes at the moment. I ain't going to lie. You got Trent, who, by the way, put Matoma in his pocket last week. It was only Gomez when he came on that Matoma came alive. No one wants to talk about it. And you got people like Kwanzaa coming through. I think Matip's okay. You got Kanate, who's got a massive high ceiling. Don't know about you guys, but we get our transfers right in January and next summer. I do think the future's quite bright.
I think the good thing is you've got a squad that you can easily see challenging now. Let's say you get all your signs in. You've got a squad that can easily challenge now and is easily in the conversations. But you've also got a squad that is nowhere near its full potential yet. And that should be the worrying thing. Because if it's this good already, what is it like when it does its full potential?
Yeah.
So for the first time, you've got real depth. I don't.
Right now.
To be honest, I think we're lower than that. I don't think we got out of second gear this season.
No.
I'm hoping. I'm thinking and hoping that going to the Etihad is the one that kicks us into gear, and that's the performance where you go, right, we're going up now, we're stepping up, and it's a statement performance that gives you the momentum of your run, because I think you've got two important parts of the season. You've got your Christmas run, and you've got your running. You win all your games in that time, you are in incredible stead for whatever you want to do. And a win against City on the 25th of November, let's say we win all the games beforehand, 4 winnable games. You go and beat City at the Etihad, which is a very tough task, but it is doable. And then that puts you in fantastic form, all the momentum in the world, going into December, where you play United at home. I think you've got Arsenal at home as well in that time. If you're able to take all that form into that period of time, there's no stopping you. You get through that Christmas period with, let's say, 90% wins. You are at the top of that table. Because I don't think Tottenham can keep it up. I think Arsenal's an interesting one to see how they're able to handle European football and Premier League at the same time. City, I still think are the biggest challenges, but they're struggling a little bit with fitness this season. KDB's still out. Bernardo Silva's had a couple of little problems in terms of getting his fitness. Rodri, they look a shadow of themselves when Rodri isn't in the team. I know he wasn't injured, he was suspended, but if he was to go down for any reason, they're up shit creek without a paddle. There's a lot of things that could go wrong for that City team, and then the door's open. And with us, if Salah goes down, it's a massive one. But that hasn't happened yet. If Van Dijk goes down, it's a big blow. But I back the players we've got to be able to pick up the slack for a little bit. I just think our squad and our mentality and our experience, most of all, is the biggest thing. I think if it got to the running and it was us against Arsenal, I think our players just have the know-how to get it done. They've been in that situation before. They know how to play. They know how to handle these occasions. They get the job done nice and early. But let's just stop getting 12:30s, and then I'll have even more confidence to win the league, because it's a bit of a joke. We've got every single game after international breaks at 12:30. I'm just happy we won the first one against Wolves, but Everton's 12:30. I know that the Man City game has now been moved to 12:30. I reckon you've got another 2 this year, and then that'll put us on 16 since Jurgen Klopp took over. What's the next highest? 6?
6, Chelsea and Tottenham. So I was going to ask you guys, what do you think this is about? Because the Man City Liverpool game that's been changed to 12:30, I believe, was penciled in for an Arsenal game, and apparently they changed it because of policing. Yeah, that's what they've said. Yeah,
it's so they can manage that. The idea is, if that game's at 12, they believe there'll be more crowd trouble at Man City, Liverpool, than there will at Arsenal, Brentford. So their logic is, if the game's at 12:30, they don't have as much time in the pubs to get pissed.
Yeah, have I ever heard of supermarkets that sell alcohol 24 hours a day?
The biggest reason is we're just a really big draw, and
that is the main reason. That is the
biggest reason.
that is probably the main reason. But there's got to come to a time when these companies got to look at it and go, hang on, no, Liverpool had this 12:30 kickoff 16 times, and the second most is 6. That's too much of a difference. That's too much of a difference where, Klopp does mouth off and he tells people what he thinks because he ain't scared of it.
But what he does tell them, though, is he tells them stats and the truth.
He tells them the truth.
His arguments are really fair.
Yeah.
It's just the way he delivers it sometimes.
He literally tells the truth, and
the biggest
what
thing...
it is. And even Talk Sport and the Man United fan on Talk Sport said it's not right either. And when you get that sort of reaction, there's something not right. They've got to do it. They've got to. It's just. It's mad. It's mad. Big up to Monts in the chat. You're doing good, man.
2 or 3. Like, if it was 9, you could say unlucky, but it happens. It's the fact that it's over double. Like, how have we possibly hit that one over double?
Can you make it any more obvious?
Like, we've been in Europe for most of those seasons as well.
I know.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing as well. We've actually been in Europe as well, so we shouldn't have even had half of them. There's something I did want to touch on though after what Tom said, and talking about like the fact that we're probably 60, maybe 50% working at the moment as a team. For me, we need to find a way of not conceding first. Like this is going to catch up with us. Because players are just going to automatically assume that we're going to concede, and we end up conceding. Like even though we probably shouldn't. And there's only so many games you can go until you just can't get that goal. You can't get that winner. You can't get the equaliser. And I don't want us to be doing that, because that's when players start to get injured because they're putting too much effort in, or they're under too much stress trying to get that equaliser or that winner, and that's when you start relying on your Mo Salah too much and those type of players, and that's when Dom does run like 15 miles in a game. I think under that now, but yeah.
I think you're right. I think the more we grow with this team this season, I think we're starting to control games better from the start. We're a new team at the moment, everyone's starting to get to know each other again, especially with this midfield, which is the core position of your team. So I think the more this team grows together this season, I think we'll get stronger and stronger. And, towards the end of the season, we've probably got the manager who can fight with City better than any other manager in this league. Arteta sort of like withered away towards the end of the season, and should have won the league, let's face it, and he withered away a little bit. I think Klopp will be up. The thing that I think Klopp's up for the fight this year. I think he's got his mojo back. There looks like there's something about him this year that he looks like he's up for the fight. He wants to compete. That's why I think Klopp wants to win Europa League. You look at the teams he's putting out in Europa League. For me, Jurgen Klopp looks like he wants to win that competition.
I think you've got to win that competition as well.
Yeah.
I think you've got to. I mean, this is a club that, if we were in the Champions League this year, would be expected to make the quarters, the semis. Therefore, you've got to be expecting to go very far in the Europa League. I wasn't one of the ones who wants us to just throw it away. It's a big trophy. The Europa League is a good trophy to win. And it's not like, I don't like the idea that, I can't believe we're playing Salah and Alisson and Van Dijk in the Europa League. They're the reason why we're in the Europa League, because they weren't good enough last season for long enough. They turned up a bit too late, and then we finished 5th. So the elitism against the Europa League, I don't agree with. It's a good tournament. It's in Dublin, the final this year, which would be a good piss up. A lot of people will be able to get down there for that one.
That'd be brilliant.
I don't see any problems with it. It's not the Champions League, but it's a trophy at the end of the day. And I've always said this club is built on winning. It's a club that is built on winning, and to piss away trophies, it doesn't sit right for me. It's why the Carabao Cup this year as well. Massive on the Carabao Cup.
Can I just rattle off some stats as well about the cups as well under FSG, because I did write them down. So under FSG, we've got 1 League Cup with Kenny, 1 Premier League with Klopp, 1 Champions League with Klopp, 1 FA Cup with Klopp, and 1 EFL with Klopp. For me, I don't think that's enough for FSG. But if you look at the finals and the runners-up, this is the interesting thing. 1 final with Klopp, one final League Cup with Klopp, 1 FA Cup final with Kenny, 2 Europa Leagues, 1 with Rodgers and 1 with Klopp, and 2 Champions Leagues with Klopp. And
did we make
Premier League runner-up times 3 with 1 with Rodgers and 2 with Klopp.
Why can't I not remember the Europa League final with Rodgers?
That was the one where Moraine. Actually, it was probably with Klopp, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the Klopp one, because Rodgers started the season, but Klopp had the second half, didn't he? So Rodgers had like Bordeaux, and so I was thinking was the one like 2012, which I've forgotten about, when we had like young boys or something. It's a lot of finals. No. It was a thing where is Jurgen Klopp going to win a final, and it took Tottenham to be that hump to get over, but we should have won more. 100%, we should have won more.
But we've been close. That's what I'm saying. We've been there or thereabouts as well. So yeah.
Sometimes you just look at the draw. I mean, Real Madrid. I mean, the first Real Madrid game, that is the last dance of the best Champions League team of all time. The second Real Madrid game is the greatest goalkeeping performance in the Champions League. The seasons against City, you had a slip, you had a ball that was that close,
literally,
and you had Rodri handball, and yet they got away with it. Like, we've always been there or thereabouts. The League Cup final, we were never going to win, but we took that to penalties against the best City team. And the Europa League final, we were 1-0 up, and then Albert had to get involved and forget how to defend, because that's just what Albert done. Like, we've been there, and I just hope that this new look Liverpool is the one that can start getting over the hump consistently in these trophies. I want to win the Carabao Cup again this season. I want to win the FA Cup. I would love it if we done the shit treble again, because it's a good treble. Because you end up playing every game you're in. That would be a lovely trophy to win. Yeah. A lovely accolade to do again. The Europa League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, they're all big honours, and I think it's important for us as well, because the squad is so big, and because there's a lot of players who are at a good level in the squad now. We need to go deep in those cups to give everyone the game time they want.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
what annoys me as well is, like, if we were in the Champions League, I actually think we'd have a really good chance to win it, because there's no one that stands out this year.
Man City or Real Madrid are winning this Champions League. It's as simple as that. Man City or Real Madrid. Everyone, I literally think the year we're not in it, it's the year that.
And you just know next year there's going to be like 3 superpowers in it, and you're going to sit there and go, "Oh, you bastard."
Well, ain't next year when the Champions League changes.
Yeah,
Or
it's when it
the
goes
year
to the new
after.
league format.
Yeah, so we'll go over a struggle. Like, it's going to be madness. But guys, look, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining myself, Tom, and K-Mac. The links to their channels are in the live chat, so make sure you go and follow them, subscribe to them, show the love, guys, to the Liverpool community around here. We're all doing our bit on Liverpool fan channels, talking about Liverpool Football Club, guys. Yeah, appreciate the love from everyone. Tom, thank you very much for coming in today. Appreciate the love, man. Same you, K-Mac. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming in today. Great debate, great chat. Guys, we'll be back soon. Don't forget to go and hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and go and support these two beautiful people right here. Thank you very much, guys.
The chat.
Have a good evening. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.